Hey guys, if you've seen me play on my stream, you'd probably have seen me play some unusual junglers like Zyra, Blitzcrank, Jace, and I talk about it again and again how that basically the jungle role is situational. Sometimes you need a Feral Flare based jungler, sometimes you need an early ganker, sometimes you need a jungler with a lot of crowd control, sometimes you can get away with a carry jungler. There's always a different situation in which you're going to need to play a different jungler. And I actually think that Zyra Jungle fills a weird niche role that actually fits into the game. And this is a game in Diamond 1, and I'll go ahead and walk you through Rune's masteries and talk about what to expect this game. So Runes, I'm running Hybrid Pin marks. This is to help out with your auto attack base damage and the fact that you're going to scale really well with Magic Pin, armor seals, flat AP quintessences, and a mixture between ability power, flat ability power, and ability power per level glyphs. And since the trinket wards are usable at 30 seconds now, I was just watching around my blue, put the trinket ward down, Pantheon face checked right there. Walking down, but as you can see, there's a lot of pings going on my red side jungle. They actually invaded here, and we just saw it. Blitzcrank got chunk low. But whenever they invade like this, you do not want to let them take a buff for free whenever the invade happens very early like that, because Blitzcrank's going to have time to heal and come back down. So I'm thinking about right here, I'm like, okay, I want to start blue because I'm Zyra, but at the same time, I think they're still at my red. So I actually changed my mind and come back down here, partly because Nidalee wouldn't be here to leash, she's going to fight Pantheon top lane, and also because I suspect that Lee Sin is still at my red. I don't have vision of this right now, but I'm assuming they're here. And with Varus's vision, I see that Lee Sin is here, and I just want to push him off my red. Good pull there. I started with my Q on Zyra. You absolutely want to start your Q. Level 1 is the most vulnerable time for Zyra jungle because you need your plant, you need to be level 2 to have your plant to have it start tanking things for you. And this is really important to know exactly what to do with your plants. You're going to want to put the plant on the biggest monster because the way the jungle monsters work is they're going to aggro the closest target. And since Zyra's plants function on number of hits they take rather than actual damage they take, if you can see, I'm tanking the small wolves and I'm letting the big wolf tank my plant. And I'm moving forward so my plant survives for a little bit longer to tank it, and then at the very last second I move back so the plant dies and tanks one more auto attack as it's going to time out. So I do one small camp and I'm going to my blue, same thing. Put the plant on the big monster, move back so that the small ones are aggroed onto me, and then right before my plant's about to die, I move forward so it changes aggro to me, and then I smite it. And I'm taking very, very little health in the jungle. As you can see, I've only used 2 potions so far, have double buffs. You'd normally be really vulnerable against something like a Lee Sin, but because that whole level 1 First Blood on Lee Sin happened, I knew he probably wouldn't invade me. But if he were to invade me, I would definitely want help. And before you're 3, before you have one of each of your abilities, you're just going to have a lot of difficulties trying to fight people. But as soon as you hit 3, you can actually beat junglers like Shaco and Lee Sin as long as you kite around your plants. And same thing there, made sure that the big one was hitting my plant when it could. Coming around to gank mid now, and I'm going to go ahead and pause it, talk about mid lane ganks. Whenever you're against a mid laner that has no escape, like Syndra, Lux, Ahri, I mean, Ahri will have an escape at level 6, but pre-6, if you have any sort of CC, you gank the heck out of them. So I'm coming mid. The slow lands, but she sidesteps, and my snare actually misses because she's not running towards her tower for a second. But because she's running away from her tower, she was able to be out of position long enough for us to kill her. So I missed the snare, but the damage between my plants, the ignite from Talon, the red buff, and my auto attack was enough to kill their mid laner right there. And just as soon as I get at the gank mid, I help push it down so that Talon won't get 1v1 by their jungler. I put an extra point in Grasping Roots is the first thing you want to level up. Then I'm immediately ganking bot. And they have a ward here. They know I'm coming to gank, but I'm still in position here to make something happen. He flashes my snare, but we're still trying to run this down. I can land one more plant Q to get the kill under the turret. We want to be careful here. The Varus is tanking minions. You never want to stay too long, and Varus actually would have died there if I didn't move in front of the Q, because Caitlyn's Piltover will do less damage per target hit. So by me stepping forward there, I actually saved the Varus. And at the time, I just wanted to try and snare the Caitlyn so she wouldn't get that last auto attack off if she decided to flash for it. But afterwards, I was like, huh, that Varus definitely would have died. So I'm going to recall here. You really, really want to get Spirit Stone into the jungle item. Spectral Wraith is so phenomenally good on Zyra. It gives you a ton of ability power. It allows you to push, allows you to clear the jungle much faster. So I bought Spirit Stone, Fiendish Codex, going to rush that. Still have 2 health potions that'll tick in the jungle. But you don't need to buy too many health potions in the jungle because your plants can tank for you. I see Lee Sin here, and I'm going to fail really hard. I actually smite the smaller one. Yeah, I smited the smaller one on accident. They were standing on top of each other, and I just had my mouse cursor a little bit too low. So that was a misplay on my part. I thought I had the smite for sure. I knew it was low enough for me to smite, but the smaller one was just right there on top of it. So I lost my Wraith. Gonna do Wolves now. I messed up. I probably should have walked a little bit closer there, but right here, my plant's basically going to finish this off. I'm going to like auto-tag it one more time, and then leave. The plant gets it. Yay. Top lane, our Nidalee is getting kind of wrecked. She's 0-3 so far, but I haven't been ganking top. Ganking for Nidalee is really difficult, so I'm kind of waiting until she hits 6 before I put a whole lot of pressure there. Coming back mid lane, Talon lands his snare. She flashes immediately, and I just land 1 Q to kill her. So I didn't really... That wasn't like the biggest help for me being there. She flashed my snare, but I was able to pick up the kill, and I don't think Talon would have gone for it unless because he thought that his dot would get it, his Q dot. He used Ignite in the first gank, so technically he wouldn't have gotten that kill if I wasn't in the area anyways, and I still got it. So I'm 2-0-2 right now, have the Spectral Wraith item. Normally games don't go this easy when you're playing Zyra jungle, but because they have a really immobile mid laner, you know, any sort of CC you go mid and you kill them. But the real strength of Zyra jungle is higher, or actually when you reach about mid game to late game, you become a monster. You really do. You can do Baron very easily. You can't really solo Baron, but you can do it with someone else very, very easily. And being an AP jungler is something very unique. I mean, you're going to get a ton of ability power. You're going to have wave clear, and you have a lot of pick potential from ranged. And your ultimate's also basically like a ranged Amumu ultimate. It's really, really powerful if you use it correctly. And later this game, you'll see the true power of its uses. I started red, going to work my way back towards top. Now, Nidalee's still not 6, and Pantheon's like super overextended at this point, but he's not even hurt. So unless I can basically solo Pantheon, I'm not going to be able to gank top very much. So I'm really focusing on going for the winning lanes right now, but I'm going to start focusing on top lane. Whenever a lane like loses that hard, you can't ignore them forever because eventually their top laner is going to become such a problem that, you know, they're going to like win the game for their team. So I'm going to have to start coming top now. And right here, I'm just trying to wave clear and push out top. I hit my snare from max range, do a little bit of damage to the Pantheon, but I want to get my blue first before I kill the Pantheon for cooldown reduction. If I decide to use my ultimate, it'll be on a lower cooldown once I get that blue, and also mana issues. Blue is very, very important to Zyra. You really don't want to play without it if you can help it. Doing blue, let's speed this up so I get to the top gank. So I'm level 7 now, 4 points in Grasping Roots. The snare is pretty decent now. Pantheon doesn't have a word here. I'm hoping that either Pantheon will just immediately come back to lane and go for the Nidalee. But once I realize Pantheon's a little bit late coming to lane, I'm like, okay, I'm going to lane gank this. And if you can lane gank this, you can basically get a kill with almost any champion as long as they get baited. So I'm waiting for Pantheon to jump into Nidalee. Perfect. Lane my Grasping Roots, plants, ult, everything. And Nidalee gets the kill. That's fine. In a losing lane like that, I would rather my laner get the kill. Even if it resets their bounty, at least they can start catching back up in terms of items. Lee Sin's up here. He our mid laner pings us back, or no, that was their mid laner that pinged back because Talon was starting to roam top. But we're going to just take this tower because of brute force. Talon's in the area, like fighting the Syndra, so we knew that we'd have backup eventually if Lee Sin decided to go ham. We get the tower. Unfortunately, Talon dies by going a little bit too hard. I kind of want to do these double golems at the same time. I'm really, really careful about this Pantheon. And right here, it kind of confused me when Nidalee was waiting in the bush for so long. I went back in. We managed to kill the Pantheon, but I was really confused by Nidalee's play right there. I landed my passive on the Lee Sin, hoping that Nidalee could finish this off, but she's just a little bit too low to chase that down. That's the other cool thing about Zyra, is even if you get invaded on early game, if you do enough damage to whoever you're 1v1ing, you can sometimes finish them off with your passive. And in team fights, you can just kind of suicide bomb into their team by using all of your abilities. And hopefully you'll have an hourglass by the time mid to late game hits, which is what I definitely recommend, unless they have just an all AP team. But usually then something like an Abyssal would be a good alternative. But I died my second item. I got a large rod. If you can afford to get a large rod, get a large rod. It takes a long time to get otherwise. I'm really slow right now though because I don't have boots, but I had just enough for a large rod, and I really want to get hourglass as soon as possible. It'll be really good against their team, and Zyra in general works really well with hourglass because you can just use all your abilities and use hourglass to bait them into your ult or something like that. We saw Lee Sin topside, so I'm just coming down bottom to get a free dragon. We saw him on the minimap for like a brief second, like on this ward, I believe. And so we're just going to grab dragon because we knew he was either going to recall and come from base or come from topside. Either way, we had plenty of time. And with Zyra plants, you can, you know, you have an easier time tanking dragon. I definitely want to look to recall to get boots pretty soon. Like, you don't want to play too long without boots on Zyra because you have really low base movement speed, 325. At this point, I've got 186 ability power, so I can almost combo down just about any of their squishies. Like, if I'm going to find Syndra by herself and she face checks a bush, I could probably kill her 100 to 0. I thought about making a play on the Syndra. If she were to overextend to try to push Talon into the tower, I would have like gone for the kill there. Blitzcrank started going mid and she backed off due to the ward in the river. So that really didn't work out because indirectly she thought Blitz was roaming on her. So I backed just to buy boots and a pink ward. As a jungler, you should really consistently buy pink wards when they die, and you should use them in places that would be least likely killed, like where this this pink ward is right now. I'm not sure if that was my pink ward or someone else's. I usually buy a lot of pink wards. So here's the point where Zyra really kicks into gears. Once team fights start, once you need to wave clear, bam, full wave clear, snare the Lee Sin. He took a ton of damage. He got chunked to half HP from my combo and 1 tower hit. That's Zyra for you. She doesn't even have the best AP ratios. Her base damage is just really, really high. Doing a wolf camp in between the waves that are pushing just to maximize my gold income. You want to make sure you're using your conservation stacks when you can as well. Also, stacking up your Spectral Wraith. It's at 62 ability power. It works its way up to 80. I actually get hooked here, but I land a 3-man snare into ultimate and basically wreck their entire team. So even though I got hooked there, like trying to get in position to snare them, they kind of clustered up on this little edge, and I'll go back over it because that was like a perfect example of like what you can do with Zyra jungle. Zyra mid lane, you're just a little bit too vulnerable because you know you're always going to be in one spot, and their jungler can just kind of, oh, this is Zyra mid. I can at any point in time probably come mid and kill her. So I get snared here. We jump on her. Bam! I snare 2 targets. Varus ult snares the other 2. Ult the 3 in the back line. The knock-up hits, it's just devastating. It truly is. If you can land your snares and Zyra ults, you can carry a team fight yourself. So we're gonna get this free tower because of that engage. I mean, it's just having like range snares and range poke and stuff like that is so dang good for mid game. It really does break sieges open. They can't defend this. Lee Sin is too low. Pantheon's coming back, doesn't have ultimate. We just got 2 towers for free because of the Varus / my snare and ult. Okay, we want to back off here. You don't want to stay too long after an advantage. Even if this Pantheon were to like charge us and start auto-attacking us, it might not even be worth fighting him because, you know, close behind will be 3 full HP targets that have shopped since they're dead. And we're very low. This is like a risky place to recall for this in Italy. I think I'm going to take this red. Yeah, this early into the game, like Varus doesn't even have a BF sword yet, so I decided just to take red for the extra experience because I'm doing like really, really well. Red buff, I mean, Lizard gives a lot of gold as well. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, red buff with Zyra, it just adds a lot of damage. And my AD carry isn't very strong yet, so no reason to really give it to him this early. And I'm going to take every blue this game because Talon with blue is okay. But basically, you're an AP carry when you're playing Zyra jungle, so you kind of need the blue buffs. And it's best to have a mid laner that doesn't need blue. But going more into like the situations that you'd want to pick Zyra, you know, you want to have a well-balanced team comp. If your team doesn't have a whole lot of CC or you're lacking AP damage or something like that, and you have somewhat of a tank on your team, I think Nidalee is going to go Triforce into tank. But I was second pick this game, and I kind of didn't know that it was Nidalee top lane. I thought it was going to be a Nidalee mid. And Zyra Nidalee is a deadly combo. Like, you have the range snare into like spears. Like, if you snare someone, it's like a guaranteed full range spear on that target, or a target that blocks it. I missed my snare on this Caitlyn because she like E'd, but we were still able to like walk up and kill her. And I'm 4-1-6 at this point. Gonna probably recall it by Hourglass. Yeah, I've got 2,000 gold, so I've got enough to get Hourglass. This is really where my damage is going to spike, and also my defensive potential is going to reach a really nice point, because you're Zyra, you're still really squishy. You need to get some sort of defensive item after Spectral Wraith. Like, very rarely will I rush something like a DFG or a Death Cap after. It just really depends on if our team has no damage at all. But this game, we're doing kind of well. Like, Talon's got some kills. Nidalee's starting to catch back up. Varus just now has his Bloodthirster, but you know, their team isn't like super far ahead of us or anything like that. We're winning by 5,000 gold because we've taken so many turrets. That's like all like dragons and the towers we have on them. I don't think we're out farming them by that much. Like, Syndra has more farm than our whole team, or anyone on our team singly, even though she's 0-4. And there's a lot of dead time right now. Like, the bottom outer turret is still up. I should probably make my way over there, but I'm trying to use my conservation stacks and just farming up quickly. At this point, like, my plants just, like, solo camps almost. You use, like, 2 abilities, and your plants will finish the camp, pretty much. So you can do camps over the wall at this point. You don't even have to walk over. My E is almost enough to kill all the ranged backline minions, but then, you know, your plant's going to do a ton of damage at this point as well. So you can go to a lane and like hold it and wave clear. Zyra's pretty dang decent. Nidalee dies top. I don't want to lose that tower, but at the same time I have to hold mid because they have 3 mid right now. So Talon's going top. I'm holding mid. They can't take this because I've got such wave clear. It's pretty ridiculous. A jungler with this much wave clear. Syndra's backing. We see this on a ward. I'm just kind of in the area, still waiting. A whole lot of dead time. I haven't really made any big plays since most of the outer turrets have been down. If I were to land a snare on the Syndra, I could kill her, but you know, it's going to be kind of difficult since at the same time, if she hits her stun on me, I'm probably dead. I have like 30 base magic resist with this build. They had primarily physical damage, so I didn't run like flat magic resist for glyphs. I'm using the ability power per level and flat ability power. And I see them recall. Dragon's up right now. I think we're going to do Dragon. Yeah, Nidalee's here. I use my pink on it and put my plants down. Doing a lot of damage to it right now. Probably get this uncontested. Yeah, they're not even going to come down here. This was easy. I mean, we did this because not only do we have control mid, but our top laner was here. Talon was around mid. We just had the positional advantage. Even if they came to fight us, I'm pretty confident that I could just wipe them if they came from a choke point, like from this area or this area. If I land a snare into my ult, I could probably win the team fight myself. The scary thing about this game was actually Syndra, because I didn't have a whole lot of magic resist and she went DFG. She became a little bit of a problem as the game went on, just for me personally, because I didn't have any magic resist at all. I get caught here because Pantheon just like walked from a weird angle, but I snare the Pantheon, do a little bit of damage. I was still kind of caught out here, and I have to Hourglass the Caitlyn ult because no one was going to block it. I pop my ultimate, knock up the Syndra, and then have to flash back. So a little bit of a misplay on my part. I got a little bit too comfortable because I thought our outer turret would dissuade the Pantheon from just walking in from behind. So I was doing the wolves, and our team was just out of position for a second. And I tried to wave clear from this side, but they're just, you know, 5-man right now. So I probably should have recalled immediately. We had 2 bottom, Blitzcrank and Varus, and the enemy team just kind of saw that 2 of us were way out of position, and they just pushed down mid as 5. I bought another large rod here, but I think I should have just gone with Sork Boots and gotten Home Guard. I just didn't think that Varus would get here to engage immediately. He just ults. So me getting that large rod to work towards Death Cap second probably would have been a better thing to do, but not in a situation in which I needed to Home Guard and get there immediately. But yeah, I didn't expect like 2 of my teammates to just go ham on them immediately. I knew they couldn't get this tower, or if they did get this tower, then we couldn't stop it for sure without us just suiciding. Lee Sin walks up here. He's going to take my blue. I know my blue is up, so I suspected that if they were going to take it, they would go for it immediately. So I came up here to try and stop whoever would take it from getting it. Lee Sin's still in the area. I should not have used my smite, but I didn't think he would stay. And so he smites it from me, but this puts him in a really bad spot. He just kicks me. I land the snare on him like as he flashes, and then Hourglass to make sure he doesn't get like an extra Q on me or something crazy, because he built damage. And then it was just a free kill. So that was pretty much Lee Sin just overstaying his welcome. Like, he stole my blue, and then like as I was doing the white, he was like, oh, I'm going to stay here. And, you know, Talon was finally in position. I get stunned. Nice pull. I ult here. I don't have my Hourglass, but I land a 2-man ult and the snare on the Syndra. I get ignited, live with 84 HP. If I had Hourglass, I would have used it right there as Pantheon jumped on me. And they get punished again for trying to engage on us, because Zyra is like the ultimate like punisher for running towards your team. Buy a blasting wand. You know, you don't really want to like run around with boots 1, but if you're doing super well, getting bigger items can be more beneficial. Like, if you're ever able to buy a large rod, you usually want to go for it, because like I said earlier, you don't want to sit on a whole lot of gold, and it takes a while to just save up for a large rod. So if you're ever able just to get it, you want to get it. I'm going for that death cap pretty fast. Holding top. I came up here because I told Varus I was really close to death cap, and I think I needed like that wave plus the white and wolves, and then I would have death cap. And that's going to be a huge power spike. Like, getting death cap 3rd item, it's going to give you a massive power spike. And you don't always have to go death cap on Zyra. You could go the Leandries build, but personally, I think going for more of the burst caster on Zyra, I have more success with that than going like Leandries, Rylai's. But if you're behind, I would go for the Rylai's build, because your plants will proc it, your E-plant will, you know, do the full Leandries proc, since it will start slowing the target. Support Zyra works especially well with Leandries, because, you know, you don't need to be that burst caster. But this game, we have no AP damage really besides me. Our Nidalee went AD. So I was really trying to be the burst caster this game. And I have death cap now. 22 minutes, I have 500 ability power. That's pretty crazy. You know, putting off Sork boots / putting off whatever boots I would normally get is definitely worth it if you're able to get death cap this fast. Now, the boots I would normally get, like Sork boots, really nice because you do a lot of base damage. Ninja tabbies and merc treads are also good alternatives. Sometimes CDR boots or mobility boots, depending on how the game is going. But for the most part, I almost always go Sork boots, simply just because they will boost your damage by quite a bit. I think Blitzcrank was like pinging Baron, and I'm just like, I'm not going to do Baron against like a Pantheon. Okay, Pantheon's ulting mid. Is this the... Okay, I snare their backline, looking to use the ultimate. So I use their ultimate right here. Really good ult. Split their team, also hit multiple targets. And I'm trying to zone out / kill their backline still. I get hooked again. Hourglass. My plant killed the last guy. I think... Oh, I missed the passive. I thought she would try to juke back, thinking I would shoot in front of her, and she just kept running forward. So if my passive hit, maybe it would have killed. I'm not sure what her HP was, but it's kind of hard to hit your passive after a team fight. Like, if you die in a team fight relatively early on, so much is going on. Usually they forget that you're gonna use the passive. But you know, after a team fight, when they're able to like, run away like that, it's really hard to get your passive to hit any targets unless you just get really lucky, or you bait them into running one way or something like that. I finally get Sork boots, so now I'm not running around like a turtle. I have 370 movement speed with tier 2 boots. Not the best. It's probably like the weakest point about Zyra jungle, besides your squishiness, is you have low mobility, but man, mid game you do so much damage, it's almost worth it. So we clear out Baron. We sort of catch this Thresh. He sort of jukes my E. I flash as soon as I see the Pantheon ult. Finish off the Thresh, and looking to go back in. My snare almost hits the Pantheon. At max range, it was just like a few pixels short of hitting. Misses the flash hook. I mean, that was a situation in which, like, if Thresh didn't juke back towards us, it would have been harder to kill the Thresh. But my snare missed because of it, and then Pantheon came and I had to flash. because they suddenly had a numbers advantage. And their Pantheon has 10 kills, so I didn't want to mess with that at all. Even though I had Hourglass up, if I Hourglass there, it would have given time for Syndra to walk up and kill me. And here, I started to run away, and I realized my teammates were still trying to do Dragon. And so the end result was me getting picked by their 10-3, now 12-3 Pantheon that's doing super well. I still kill a few of them, but we lost Dragon, and 3 of us died because Talon and Blitzcrank didn't react instantly to the Pantheon showing up. And I tried to exit out of the pit because I thought with Talon and Blitzcrank we could all run together and just get away. And I had to smite right before my Hourglass because Pantheon jumped on me and was about to kill me. They're starting Baron. I don't know if I'll be up in time. Speed up. Okay, they get Baron. After they get Baron in a situation like this, it can be really demoralizing. Like, oh, we just, we got aced, or we almost got aced at Dragon, then they got Baron. I welcome and smite, my blue, get it. They still have Baron, so I do not want to fight them. Even though I probably could have killed the Thresh with my full combo, I don't have my ult back up. So yeah, I didn't have my ult, so I definitely could not have killed the Thresh. And also, even if I had my ult, I would still want to save it to defend the turret. It'd be kind of pointless to save it, to use it in that type of situation. So you definitely want to save it. Snare, 3 targets. Don't have my ultimate up yet. I would have used it if I had my ultimate. It's going to be up in 1 second. Have my ultimate now. So I would have killed the Pantheon, would have probably killed the Thresh if I had the ult there. It's going to do quite a bit of damage. I get snared, but bam, hook, ult, Hourglass. And they basically get wipes. So 4 of them died in that engage. I snared 3, ulted multiple targets, split up their team, walk back to base. Working on Void Staff now. They're starting to get a lot of magic resist. They have Banshees, an Athenes, a Negatron on their AD carry. 4th item, it's usually smart to get a Void Staff, if you can. Simply because you can expect them to have magic resist at that point in the game. Clearing out the side waves, did the white over the wall. Just kind of waiting for my team to group up, also just still trying to farm my Void Staff. See how close I am to the Void Staff. I actually have enough for it now. It's 1,000 after you have Blasting and Amp Tome. So I'm just trying to recall in a safe spot. Actually, I'm just walking back. I was like, screw it, I'm walking back. I wasn't sure if they had wards in the area since they were just sieging our base. I was unsure if they had wards in the area. I think I didn't want to get Pantheon ulted or something like that. So I just walked back, bought Void Staff real quick, and I'm defending this tower. I have my ult back up. Don't have flash. I have got Hourglass. Oh, yeah, and I get 100 to 0 by Syndra. She DFG ulted me there, and I was the only one defending at that point. That was pretty bad. But that's going back to the... I have 30 magic resist right now, so even though I'm trying to itemize for most of their team, that one... I get the kill on the Syndra. That one person that does magic win for me under the tower. Pantheon has 15 kills. It's a 3 and 10 Syndra, but if you have 30 magic resist and they have a DFG and something that does as much damage as Syndra ult, you can still get one shot. This is a pretty big mistake on my part, but she just landed a max range stun and just kind of walked up, DFG'd ulted. And I definitely underestimated her damage, and I thought I could be okay wave clearing from this far away. And because of that, I finally realized, hey, this Syndra can one-shot me if I don't have magic resist, so I pick up the Negatron. It's going to be really nice because I'll no longer get one shot. We're pushing down mid. I mean, it wasn't the best fight for us, but we held our inhibitor tower, and they continued to dive after they killed me. And I think I landed my passive on multiple targets, so I still did an okay amount of true damage to their team, even despite getting picked off like right off the bat. Pantheons, I'm going to try and snare Pantheon immediately. If you ever see someone like teleport in front of you or something like that, hit them with the Morgue Binding, hit them with whatever CC you have as soon as they get there. Punish them for, being like vulnerable like that. So I snare the Pantheon immediately. I think we're walking around killing that dude. We got to be really careful though because, yeah, we're split up. Talon got in front of us when we were still like trying to regroup. I landed my ultimate. It didn't quite knock up the targets, but it did the damage. and that's what I wanted to go for here. And I flash snare the Syndra and use Q, just kill her really fast. We could actually end the game in this push since I got that pick. If Syndra was able to go back to base and home guard, we probably would not have been able to try to end it like this. But we're going to try and end it because, well, for one thing, I landed another snare on the Caitlyn, but they're all dead but the Caitlyn. And we have 3 lives still. Caitlyn didn't buy home guard boots. She's healing very slowly. I'm putting multiple plants out to try and zone. It gets rid of Pantheon's home guard right away, and I back up as Varus gets the last hit on the fountain, or not the fountain, but the Nexus. Pantheon came from the fountain. Their whole team was rezzing the fountain. Well played. So let me summarize this game for you guys. Pretty much this worked because Lee Sin tried to invade my red at level 1. We stopped it from happening. We killed the Lee Sin. This game probably would have gone a lot different if Lee Sin like tried to invade at my red. If, you know, like afterwards, like if I did my blue and then went to red and he tried to level 2 fight me, it would have been a little bit different, but I probably would have talked a whole lot more about what you do to deal with that. And I'll probably do that in another video if you guys like this one. But Zyra jungle, very situational. It's not something that's like, oh my god, it's OP. It's like, if the situation allows for it, you can pull it off. And the situations that you can possibly do this in would be if they have a squishy, immobile mid laner that you can probably get multiple kills on early game, despite being immobile yourself. If your team lacks AP damage, Zyra jungle, it can be a necessity. Zyra jungle works really well with range poke like Nidalee as well. Like I said, I picked Zyra jungle this game because I thought it was going to be a Nidalee mid lane. He turned out to want to play Bruiser, Nidalee top. And I was second pick, but it kind of worked out. Like when you have a Talon mid, you're going to lack a lot of wave clear or safe wave clear, and Zyra can kind of pick up the bill on that because she can, her E and her Q are quite long range, so she can wave clear without getting very close. And Talon's W is medium range, so he can kind of wave clear, but you'll end up lacking a whole lot of magic damage as well if you end up with a Talon or a Zed mid, and so it really worked out this game. And anyways, thanks for watching, guys. And if you want to see more content sort of like this, you can check out, you know, my future videos, or you can check out my stream. It's twitch.tv/Valkrin. I stream a lot of stuff like Zyra jungle, Jace jungle, Gragas support, crazy supports, mid laners, top laners. I play every role. And that's probably the one thing that makes me different than most other streamers, is I play every role at a challenger level. And so that's it for now, guys. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like on Facebook and stuff like that. And I'll see you guys next time.